Hey, what's up my Dragon Legion? How y'all been? So the Dragoons, today we are going to be doing a CardFight Vanguard deck profile today, and that deck profile is going to be how my current Narukami Eradicator deck profile is right now, current at the moment. I have done some changes a little bit here and there, and I'm finally able to take a break from the reverse build Narukami's, and I will say that build is very fun, and like, if you're a diehard Narukami fan or player like yours truly, you will have a lot of fun with playing the reverse build. Like, the only thing that sucks about the reverse build is you'll be locking out some of your own rear guards in order to go off your Vanguard's ability. But other than that, it's really fun, and you can do a lot of crazy things right here. But this deck right here is also crazy good fun right here. Now, what I like about this build right here is it's got a little bit more usage of Dragonic Overlord Descendant. No, I'm sorry, Dragonic Descendant now. And yeah, it just got a little bit of things mixture here and there. And what I like about this build specifically is it's very similar build to the build where I finally first put together a deck profile of my first Eradicator deck profile. And this build right here is almost very similar to how that build was back then. So I was able to play a little bit, so to speak, old school Eradicators, and it was lots of fun playing, so to speak, old school Eradicators. So, with some few exceptions to tech choices here and there. And yeah, without that being said, I'll get the deck profile right now, just so you Dragoons can get a better understanding of what I'm doing right here. Alright, here we go. Start off with the starting Vanguard, one Linhu right here. Unless you're playing like a Pacific deck right here, or you feel more interested in Kid Dragoon, I think this guy right here is probably like your ideal starting Vanguard when it comes to Eradicators. Spark Kid Dragoon actually does work out well with Eradicators. If you want to play him over this guy right here, that does work well, and I have seen people actually pull off doing that perfectly, and I've actually done that pretty well, and I've actually enjoyed it too. However, depending on what situation the game, depending on where you play Vanguard, I think this guy may be the better choice because, well, this guy can take care of almost anything that's a problem. That's grade 1 variant such. He's a better booster than Kid Dragoon, and when his attack is a hit, you can just put him soul, so you have more resources to do stuff, whatever, and just kill a grade 1 or less rear. But if you want to use Spark Kid Dragoon, that does work. I don't suggest do so, but I do suggest of at least giving it a try. I think you'll have lots of fun doing that. Alright, for the trigger lineup, we have, of course, the 4 heals. I don't think that I really need to explain how good that is. And I think most of you Dragoons probably would see this coming from a mile away, because you Dragoons have seen a lot of my Vanguard videos for now, right about now. For those who do not know, my favorite trigger lineup is the 6 critical and 6 draw lineup. Now, I like this lineup right here over most other lineups that most people do. The whole 8 critical and 4 draw, or 7 critical and 5 draw, that I have not tried out yet. The only 2 times I ever do that type of style with triggers is when I'm playing Kaiser Familiar in the Blood, or when I'm playing like Armor Break Dragon. No, like, unless something else comes up, those are like pretty much the only 2 decks where so far that I would do that lineup right here. Other than that, most lineups I normally do this lineup right here because I do want to be aggressive and getting as much damage as I possibly could to my opponent. But at the same time, I want to be on the defensive, and I want to be able to draw into what I really need to draw into, because the more likely you draw into what you really need to draw into, the more likely you will get what you really need in order to pull off your big combo plays. So that's what we're really doing right here. 6/6, just perfectly, just fine. And that's all I'm really doing for the trigger lineup. Nothing really too special. For the grade 1s, we have your 4 perfect guards. Don't need to explain why the perfect guards are so good. I'm very surprised there's not a Quentin Wall Narukami yet. I mean, once the Brawlers come out, I think we'll have a Quentin Wall of that set. Maybe, don't quote me, I'm mostly going to be wrong. I don't know, I'm just very surprised that Narukami's never got a Quentin Wall yet. Yeah, I'm just spitball that out. Okay. Next, we play 3 copies of Deadly Eradicator. This guy's pretty fun right here. When you ride a grade 3 Narukami Eradicator, which is what everything this whole deck is, except for Rising Phoenix, is when you ride a grade 3 Eradicator, you can just put him into a grade 3 Eradicator. You can just put him to soul, and you can just take your rear guard there. And even if you don't always go off with the ability to retire one of your opponent's front row of the rear front row rear guards, he's still a 7k booster, so that can definitely help out both ways. And if you do right into him as your grade 1 Vanguard, and still someone in particular, it's not the end of the world. You still have 2 more of these to potentially do so, and he is actually a decent grade 1 Vanguard in case if you're forced to ride into him. So yeah, I think I would rather ride into him than this guy any day. I don't know, what you Dragoons would think. Do you agree with me or do you disagree? Alright, and that was just my dog dropping her bone. Next, we play 3 copies of Steel Blade Eradicator. This guy is like really great, especially with this kind of build right here. He might be really good in Eradicator Reverse as long as you can find a way to go off with his ability without locking him. But for right now, I think he's better off in builds like this, as long as you're able to go with Gauntlet, Buster Dragon, and such. What he does is he gains, as a rear guard, he gains 3,000 power whenever a rear guard is retired by card effect. So what you do is unless you're going to ride and he's not in the field yet, if you can't really control that, no big deal. But if you can, what you do is after you gain your Ignition Dragon, just call him, make sure he doesn't get killed, whatever such. And then next turn, when you break ride Gauntlet, Buster Dragon on top of the Ignition Dragon, and you use Ignition Dragon effect to kill some 2-step, this guy will already become a 13 beater, plus more higher if you use Gauntlet Dragon's ability and other abilities as well to speed up the process of what you're trying to do. So yeah, this guy can really get in there with some huge decent amount of power in the hands of the right player. Next, we play 2 Demolition Dragons. He's nothing really too special. He is a good grade 2 killer in case you run into a situation where you have to attack with him. But most likely, he's just there as just a decent booster and in hopes of riding into him and still wasting any of the other green ones in particular. But if you don't ride into him, if he becomes a booster, that's not the end of the world. And if you end up attacking with him, he ends up becoming somewhat of a grade 2 killer, especially when you got someone boosting him. And with the right booster, he could potentially swing your opponent's Vanguard with 10,000 of his own power total, plus whoever's boosting him. So he could help you gain around some sticky corners, actually. Not too often, but just the thought that he could potentially do that is actually pretty useful and handy to keep in mind. And next, finally finish out the grade 1 lineup is 2 Rising Phoenix. Sadly, he's not Eradicator, but this deck somewhat does need him. Call him, Soul Blast 2, draw a card, and yeah, nothing really too special. If you ride into him, it's not the end of the world, but when you call him and you're able to pay for his effect, it's pretty good. It helps you get your stuff going, so yeah. And that's it for the grade 1s. For the grade 2s, we have 4 copies of Spark Rain Dragon, just your special 12k grade 2 attacker for certain specific decks. Nothing really too ignorantly special. Next, we play 3 copies of Supreme Army Eradicator. For those who do not know what he does, he has, when his unit's attack hits a Vanguard, you may soul charge a card, and then turn 1 card face down damage, turn face up. This definitely helps you out a little bit, because now and then you're going to be going all with effects like your Gauntlet Buster Dragon, Ignition Dragon, etc., where you're going to be counting out blasting quite a bit, and when that happens, this guy can get in there a little bit more, help you potentially get your stuff back face up, so you can be more often likely to do your limit break abilities. And the whole soul charge ability, it kind of stings. I don't think Eradicators really want something like that too much, because except for Sweep Command Dragon, we don't really have anything that allows us to soul blast really too much besides Rising Phoenix. So yeah, but again, the ability to draw a card is always pretty handy. And one thing I just realized that's actually kind of useful in a deck like Reverse. I apologize, I keep bringing up Reverse a lot. One thing I just realized about how useful he can be in Reverse build is if he was like your grade 2, if he was like your grade 2 Vanguard and he swung and if his attack was hit, you're able to turn card face up, damage face up. If you end up soul charging a Bowing Sword Dragon into his soul or your Vanguard soul after his attack is hit, whatever, you could potentially get away with a cross ride right out of nowhere. I wonder if someone else beat me to that idea. I don't know. Right. 2 Cho-Ou's, just your typical good grade 2 9k guy. Call, ride him, choose a Eradicator rear guard, go to solve your Vanguard, and retire front row guy of your choice. Helps you speed up with some more things, and yeah. And he's just a decent, stable, typical grade 1 killer. If I find room, I'll definitely put in 1 more copy of him, because he is definitely such really good in decks like this. And to finish off the grade 2 lineup, we have 2 copies of Thunder Boom Dragon. Just your standard grade 2 10k vanilla to help you get around some stuff. A good idea Vanguard to ride into in case you don't want to use up any of your other grade 2 guys. But if it's your Vanguard 2, that's also good because he can help you get around some sticky tight situations, and he can definitely get around some things now and then. So yeah, 2 Thunder Booms is pretty good. And that's all I'm really doing for grade 2 lineups. For the grade 3s, as I said, we're pretty much going back to somewhat old school a little bit. So just like how I used to play 2 Violent Sword Dragons, I'm now playing 2 copies of Ignition Dragon. Ignition Dragon is like a really great grade 2 break. Grade 3 break guy. For those who do not know or don't remember what he does, he has Limit Break 4. When a Narukami unit rides top of this unit, in other words, break ride. I'm sorry, Ruby, go lay down. Sorry, my dog. Anyways, when you rides top of him, counterblast 1 card. Your opponent chooses 2 of their own rear guard to be tired. I may actually bump him up back to 3, because 3 might be a little bit central number, but 2 is just fine. You don't always need the break ride. In a deck where you're playing 3 copies of these guys each, you really don't always need the break ride. If you don't go with the break ride, it's not the end of the world, but it is there for you when you need it the most, and when it is there and you can pull it off, man, it's going to help you with some huge things. Now, one of the reasons why I decided to play it too, not only because of old school reasons, but to kind of limit myself a little bit, try not to force myself mentally to... No, my dog is being rude. Sorry. Put you in a mental state where you don't have to worry about dealing anything necessary too much, and don't have to force yourself to rely on the Vanguard too often, break ride too often. So, yeah. Sorry I couldn't explain right there. My dog was really distracting me right there. Next, we're playing 3 Gauntlet Buster Dragons. A really great grade 3 guy right here. He's actually pretty decent as a rear guard as well, but he's really amazing as a Vanguard. Limit Break 4, if a rear guard is retired by one of your card effects, he automatically gets a critical at 3,000 power to end of turn for free. And Counterblast 2 Eradicators, you can... Second ability. Counterblast 2 Eradicators, retire a rear guard of your opponent's choice. So, yeah, definitely pretty useful. He's not bad at early game as well. If your opponent's playing cautious and they're not doing that much damage, the ability where you can just counterblast 2 cards out of nowhere, like a Berserk Dragon almost, definitely can help you out with tight situations, and it can potentially make your opponent pay for overextending of the whole extra caution thing. So, but when you do your cross break ride combos perfectly, oh my god, he can become a 35,000 beater with 6 critical, plus higher depending on what you get on your twin drives and who is boosting him. So Gauntlet Buster Dragon, if it wasn't for Dragonic Descendant, this guy would probably be my favorite Eradicator of all Eradicators, honestly. And of course, to finish off the entire deck, we have, of course, probably in my opinion, the best Eradicator of the whole Eradicator series. Eradicator, Dragonic Descendant. Limit Break 4, if his attack is not hit, Counterblast card, and pitch 3 Eradicators. Stands right back up one more time with a free critical, so pretty much like a weird version of Dragonic Overlord. And he also has the ability of Counterblast 2 Eradicators. He gains 5,000 power until end of turn. So, in a weird way, he's like a future version of Dragonic Overlord. And in the hands of the right player, he can definitely get around some sticky situations. And now and then, when I do ride into him, my opponent will be forced to let the attack go through, just so they don't have to deal with the Limit Break ability. And if your Gauntlet Buster Ignition build, this combo does not win you the game right there, Dragonic Descendant can almost guarantee you the win the turn when you ride into him on top of your Gauntlet Buster Dragon. After your Buster Dragon is done doing some crazy things, and by then your opponent will have very minimal resources. They'll either let the attack go through so they don't deal with the Limit Break, or they'll YOLO on the first attack, take the chance of the Limit Break, and by then they will potentially pay for it real hard, and you'll win right there thanks to the second critical. So Descendant can really get in there really hard and well. And yeah, Dragoons, that right there was my current Narukami Eradicator deck profile. I'm glad I was able to do this deck profile one last time before this year went by, before I can give this deck one last quick huzzah before we can get ready for Legion format. Now, I don't think Eradicators are going to be dead. In my honest opinion, I think Eradicators are still going to be able to hold their own, despite how good the whole Legion mechanic is. I mean, it is understandable why people will go for Legion more than Limit Break, because even I believe that Legion is better than Limit Break, but Limit Break is not obsolete. It can still get in there, and hands the right player, it can still do what it does against certain decks, and you can still be a Legion deck with a Limit Break deck. So, Limit Break is not dead. It's going to be a little bit slow compared to Legion, but it's not dead. And with that being said, let me know what your Dragoons think about this deck profile in the comment section down below. And I'll see you Dragoons around. Hope you Dragoons enjoy this video. Please leave a like and a favorite if you did. Share this video with other people. It really helps out a lot. Follow me on Facebook and Twitter. And subscribe today to become part of the Dragon Legion Alliance. And I'll see you Dragoons another day. Links are in the description down below. Christian Dragoon signing out. Peace.